and superstition, there is another world. The world of darkness. Nobody expected it.
All right, let's see what
The Exorcist. All right. Now I get to talk about this horror classic, and considered by many to be one of the greatest films ever made. So, I saw this movie. The first time I saw this was, I think I was about probably in elementary school. It was during that phase where I was trying to seek out movies that my parents were kind of iffy about. So I was going like, oh, that's okay. And then turn around to watch them at night. But I think maybe I saw clips of this movie in elementary school. And then it wasn't until maybe a year before graduating elementary and then moving up to middle school, I think that's when I actually sat down and watched this. And I don't really remember being scared at all. I think I was more fascinated, which is me with a lot of things. You know, when I was a kid, I would watch movies that are kind of considered to be like, oh my God, that's such a freaky movie. And I'm watching it going like, I'm just entertained. It was same thing with Poltergeist. I saw that movie when I was a kid. And, you know, that movie has a clown, clown doll, tree that comes to life, a hallucination of a guy tearing his face off. And I'm going I'm just entertained. I'm not really fazed by this. In fact, personally, I thought the tree scene was kind of ridiculous. Because I'm just what? What? Okay. That's just happening. But The Exorcist is very grounded. I really like how realistic it feels. So if you haven't seen The Exorcist, for the one or two people out there, it's about a little girl named Reagan who has a nice relationship with her mother, who's an actress, and she comes across this Ouija board and says oh yeah, I've been playing with this this man named it was Pazuzu was the demon, and that right there, I'm just yeah, give me that board and throw it in the fire. But, you know, that's just me. I wouldn't sit there and go hey, let's play with a Ouija board. I'd be let me see that, and chuck it in the fire. And be see, it warms the house up nicely. But Reagan starts becoming a little strange, you know, maybe could be peeing in front of guests, room going absolutely crazy, and yeah, huge. And so her mother seeks out an exorcist. And I love how this movie, it kind of switches back and forth between it being, you know, a horror movie with Reagan, but also with oh God, I forget his name, but the priest that we are following the whole time. You know, with him, it's a drama. It's him trying to cope with a lot of things, but also himself. So I like how it takes like breaks of horror, and I think William Friedkin did a really good job with that. Like he was able to, like, all right, here's a scene where we're just going to show you a whole bunch of scary stuff, and then it cuts, and then it goes to the drama, so you have like a good like 10 minutes to like calm yourself down before it goes right back into the horror. And that's a very nice thing. And sometimes it doesn't even give you a break with it. Like, you know, like drama could be like, oh, we're just talking, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere she spider walks down the stairs. And so it's like that, you know, where it'll be like a drama film, and then immediately it takes a 360, much like what this movie does, and it chucks a horror bit at you, and it's really, really well executed. And like I said, I think Friedkin did a really, really good job at this. Now, I heard about all of the stuff behind the scenes, and I'm going, yeah, I kind of wish Friedkin had a little more, you know, mentality of these things, like was it I forget but Reagan, she there's a part where she's like going like on her bed, and she's going like up and down like one of those like folding rulers, or folding like slap bracelets, and apparently that really messed up her back. And I'm just like, yeah, it looks that way. One of the most famous incidents is God, I forget her name, but her mother, she's you know, the demon who possessed her daughter slaps her to the floor, and if you look really closely, I mean, it's a blink and you'll miss it, but you see like the bottom of the curtains behind her, you see like a little thing like protruding out of it. That's because they had her on like invisible wire, like almost like fishing wire, and they were gonna pull her down. And according to her, they said, okay, we're gonna pull you down, but you know, you'll be okay. And then this is freaking saying it, that they'll pull you, you know, you'll be okay. And then according to her, after they talked, she saw Friedkin go talk to somebody, and they whispered, and apparently they pulled her really hard that it, you know, hurt her back, and the hardwood floor just, ow. And like, yeah, that sounds like it is very painful. So her scream and shrieking in that particular moment, that's actually genuine, because it's just like, ow, my back. But there's also the case that this movie is quote unquote cursed. You know, like, I know 2 of the actors died while filming, and they killed off their characters in the movie. There was apparently the set burnt down, but the only room that was not intact was Reagan's room. And there's skeptics and theories out there that are saying that this movie is so haunted and so cursed that an actual demon lives within the reels of the film. And it's like, okay, like, you know, believe what you want to believe, but I'll say whatever I'll say, but, you know, I've always been in the camp of, you know, believe what you want to believe, you know, I don't care. But this movie overall, I think it's one of the first incidents in horror where people went to see it and they actually got nauseous, and some fainted. And I think that's when they realized, like, oh, we got something on our hands. Like, we got a classic on our hands. To then, the sequels came out. And in some cases, we don't need to talk about them. But I would like to mention the Exorcist show that came out a couple years ago on Fox. It was a 2-season show that was actually really good. And it was, I believe it was written by I think Jeremy Slater, who went on to go write Moon Knight for the MCU. The first season, it starts going one way, and then halfway through, I watched that show with my dad, and when like the twist happened halfway through, both of us were just staring at each other going, what? Like, oh my God, they're doing this? So it's worth it just for that. And it's just like, wow, that's just great. So definitely check it out. Check out that show. And then this year, as of 2023, in October, we're going to get a sequel. And then continuing that, we're going to get a sequel trilogy. That is from the same makers of the Halloween sequel trilogy. And so take that as you want. So, okay. But overall, this film, it's, every time I see it, it's still entertaining. It's, to me, I don't find it like totally like full on freaky. It's more like plotting. So it comes in little short bursts, but it's very entertaining. This is easily one of the best films ever made. It's one of the best horror movies ever made. And of course this gets an amazing. Of course it gets an amazing. So, but if this movie has taught me anything, do not play with a Ouija board.
Doesn't say she's a demon. She says she's the devil himself.
I'm telling you that thing upstairs isn't my daughter. Now, I want you to tell me that you know for a fact that there's nothing wrong with my daughter except in her mind. You tell me you know for a fact that an exorcism wouldn't do any good. You tell me that!